The issue our group addressed was gender equality. In my original individual project proposal, I had chosen to work with Southwest Florida Coalition Against Human Trafficking. Gender-based crimes are an issue everywhere, but I was alarmed to become aware of how much human trafficking, specifically of women and young girls, was going on right here in our local community in Fort Myers. While our group ended up working with a different community partner, our community partner, Lead Like a Girl, focuses on lifting up women, empowering them, and providing underprivileged women and girls with the resources to speak their truths and pursue their dreams. Consequently, helping underprivileged women and girls, as Lead Like a Girl does, helps to prevent women to become victims of violent crimes, such as human trafficking. Lead Like a Girl's mission is to empower girls with the ideas they need to make a difference within their schools and neighborhoods through leadership, education, advocacy, and development. This, of course, ties directly to our community issue of gender equality. Lots of progress has been made with gender equality, but wage gaps, job consideration inequalities, and many other disparities are still very present in our society, and there is much work to be done. Lead Like a Girl offers a multifaceted platform of support for young women and girls, from blog posts to their podcast series Gemstones in the Making and scholarship opportunities. Our group made ourselves available to our contact and the founder of Lead Like a Girl, Clarabelle, in whatever way her organization needed help. We met with Clarabelle several times over Zoom. Initially, to receive our service tasks, we ended up each getting a different service task, and then to follow up on our progress regarding those tasks. Elizabeth, Maya, as well as Mackenzie, posted on social media. They posted stories to Facebook as well as to Instagram. Tyler worked on a digitally interfaced gemstone to be displayed on the Lead Like a Girl website that will be used as a fundraising tool for a scholarship Clarabelle hopes to award to an underprivileged woman or girl in the near future. I am in the process of conducting a podcast with a woman who is a community member here in Fort Myers named Gianna. She has had struggles of her own and has a powerful story to share. And as Lead Like a Girl focuses on empowerment, I believe her story will be able to help a lot of people. I have met with Gianna once for a pre-interview just to chat and get to know her. Now, having received feedback on my content from Clarabelle, I plan to conduct the actual podcast this or next week. I believe Gianna's story will serve as an inspiration to many women or girls who may be going through a tough time. She has a powerful message, and this issue is important because all women deserve to have a voice and the resources and support to experience respect in their community and to follow their dreams.
The objective of this project was to advocate for young women and empower them to make a difference in their communities by utilizing the many social media platforms used today. Various tasks were assigned tackling all aspects of social media in order to spread a positive message to young girls in the Fort Myers area. Some members in our group were assigned tasks to focus on posting on the Instagram page, while a different member worked on web design and website coding, and another member of our group worked on a podcast for the organization Gemstones in the Making. Successes and setbacks. Some of the successes that our group was able to accomplish were that Tyler was able to create the graphic design for his scholarship foundation to promote it on the website. Another member, Teal, was able to conduct her interview for the podcast, and Mackenzie, Liz, and Maya were all able to consistently post on the Instagram page with relevant topics throughout March and February. The Instagram stories had never been posted on as much as they were in the recent months, and the content in the Instagram posts were put together beautifully with great captions and pictures to match. An entire episode of a podcast was also created, start to finish, which is a big feat in such a small time period given. There were also some setbacks with our group. Tyler was given a lot of tasks to take on in a very tight deadline, so managing that was a little bit difficult, as well as the fact that coding was something he was sort of unfamiliar with, which was an aspect of his task to be done. For Teal, taking on the podcast was something very out of her comfort zone and was again a hefty amount of work to take on for such a short amount of time given. For Maya, finding a good amount of information to post on the Instagram and trying to find a good way to design and lay out the information was a little bit tough. When it comes to Mackenzie, communication with the organization was a little bit of an issue, as well as the fact that her tasks were not as clear and she seemed to have a lot of different projects to work on at once. For Liz, finding out the specifics on what the organization wanted posted was something a little bit difficult because there seemed to be so much creative freedom, it was hard to narrow down exactly what needed to be done. On this slide is some of the work that we got done throughout our time working with this organization. You will see the Gems in the Podcast Instagram page, and that's where we made all of our posts. We made some Instagram highlights, as you can see, and then these are just some of the featured Instagram posts and content that was created by Maya. The diamond shape on the side was a design for the website that our organization wanted, and each diamond represented a scholarship donator, and there's 50 diamonds in that. And then there's also a screenshot of the podcast that Teal was able to contribute to as well.
Connections to course objectives, themes, and ideas. What were the foundational elements of engagement that guided your work? There were 3 fundamental elements of engagement that guided our group's work. Since we are a virtual group, we had to accommodate how we would approach this experience. We were able to do so through indirect work. After speaking with our community partner, we found out that our indirect work included advocacy. By creating engaging posts for the social media pages to empower young women, who made up majority of our audience, we were able to advocate the importance of the push for a more gender-inclusive society. We also worked on refreshing Lead's blog by using the opportunity to write a piece for the Gemstones website blog. By adding new podcast episodes to the latest blog posts, our audience now have numerous cutting-edge options to get information that Lead wants to push through. Another prominent element of engagement that guided our work was research. Some of the content we created for the social media pages required us to have some background knowledge. 2 examples that come to mind was when it was Women's International Month, the social media team put in extra work and extra research to highlight important women in history. There was also research done upon self-love and confidence tips. The podcast also talks about heavier issues, which required us to review further information on how to approach these topics. To start, instead of beating myself up about it, I broke it down to 3 simple questions. Who is my audience? What is my message? And why is this important? After doing this, I found it super helpful and less overwhelming. Another obstacle that was overcame was stepping out of our comfort zones. Like I mentioned before, the podcast topics were a bit heavier. It was harder to conduct an interview when there wasn't a sense of comfortableness right away. After complete honesty and communication with our community partner, proper boundaries were set, and our group member was able to complete the task exceptionally. Another skill that was used was critical thinking. In order to be creative and original with the designs, logos, and Instagram posts and stories, we had to think outside the box to enhance our brand. Civic dialogue was also pretty important when coming into contact and communication with our community partner.
For my part of the presentation, I want to talk about how the course objectives, themes, and ideas really correlated and responded to our work we were doing out in the field with our community outreach partners. First off, I want to think it's very incredible and worthwhile that we were able to have this experience, right? I don't think I ever would have personally gone out of my way to do something like this, but I'm glad that I actually had the chance and ability to do this. Because, right, seeing the things we learned about week to week and each day in class, how like I could just step away from the class one day and immediately step into the work and see how much we're learning just applies one-to-one almost instantaneously. It was an experience that connected so smoothly and fluidly, right? So for example, some things we talked about were things like service, giving, and compassion. And these things just really were so... It put things in perspective, honestly, right? We would see things, or at least I didn't see it before, right? It wasn't very clear to me, but as it got broken down in class, right, we could see it more vividly. So for example, that TEDx talk, or the TED talk, right, of that lady saying it's very easy to just write a check, go to a website, donate it, boom, donated to charity. Now you should feel good, right? And it's like, no, it's not that simple actually, because you have to go out there and see your impact, see what you're doing and how it actually can help people to actually gain that sense of clarity and accomplishment and to make you feel good, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to help other people, but just writing a check doesn't feel like we're actually helping other people. Going out there and giving our time, seeing the people's lives that we're affecting, right? Seeing what they do and hearing their stories, that's what really makes the change inside of us. And another thing that we could talk about is the sweetness of charity, right? That is such a passage that resonated with me, right? Because you could see that the amount of what we do, right? It doesn't really matter what we think. It's just about the recipient, right? The scale that matters is how the person is receiving it feels about it, right? Whether they value it or not what we think we're offering, right? And I also think compassion plays a big part of this as well, right? Compassion is a huge part of the process. We were helping our community outreach partner, Clarabelle, and we could see how motivated, right? How on fire she was for her vision and her dream, right? And doing that, being able to see what she stands for, the stories that she was able to help us see, it really just moved us in a sense of we wanted to help give back and support these people, these other human beings that genuinely need help, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what people want to do, right? It's just human nature to want to help others in need. It's just part of who we are.
For the slide perspectives, what I learned from this project was that helping others is not only beneficial for those needing the assistance, but for yourself. I realized that by just helping Clary, she was so appreciative of the little things we could do for her. She was always so grateful for the help, and it was such a good experience to be able to shine more light upon the women community and supporting each other in every aspect and journey of our lives. By creating Instagram stories and Instagram posts alone brought a lot of attention to the situation. This project affected Clary, our community partner, greatly because she was very thankful and happy each one of us did something different. We each helped her a lot, and she loved using each of us to bring out something different for her. People should know that our project consisted of gender equality based on women's empowerment and leading like a girl. Means being yourself, trusting your instincts, and embracing mistakes. A woman with a voice is by definition a strong woman. For Liz, the project helped her realize how even just a single post on Instagram can help someone going through a tough time, and that advocacy is so important, especially in today's day and age with social media being such a big platform for everyone. For Teal, this project gave her an opportunity to get out of her comfort zone by connecting with and interviewing a community member whom she has never met in person. It reminded her how powerful connecting through shared struggles or hardships can be, even with a complete stranger, and how important it is to have a platform such as a podcast where people, women especially, can feel empowered, supported, and understood. For Tyler, the project impacted him in the sense of how his perspective changed on giving and serving. It also helped him refine his designer skills in a way that was very new to him, having to calculate the design Clarabelle needed through mathematics. He said he learned an incredible amount about what it means to actually give back to the world and people around him, serving those less fortunate to try and assist them in what they find valuable. For Maya, this project impacted her in a way she least expected it. She believed she grasped a good sense of how much work is put into the behind-the-scenes portion of an organization. This opportunity also made her realize that everyone has different skills that ultimately leave a greater impact on an organization. There is no such thing as insignificant work when using your skills to help an organization. Every part is important to make the big picture.